Hey guys, it's Rick. Welcome back to the HDVIBE channel. If you'd like to see installs, product reviews, rides, and some tips and tricks, and maybe some general information about Harley Davidson and motorcycling at large, I ask that you please hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon so that you do get notified when I put out new content. And with that, today what I'd like to talk about is some interesting information I took from Harley Davidson's Q3 earnings release, which came out on October 27th of 2021. And we'll get into that right after this. Hey guys, we're back. So let's talk about Harley Davidson's Q3 earnings release for the period ended September 30th. So just if you don't know, if you hadn't seen some of my earlier videos, I am a CPA. I do like to get into facts, figures, and numbers, and by no means take or do anything with this information. This is purely for entertainment purposes only, and I hope you all take it for what it's worth, and that's free information. And all this information is publicly available at Harley Davidson's website. So, with that, let's talk about revenues. So revenues for Harley Davidson were up 17% for the quarter at $1.365 billion. And that was really led by the motorcycle segment of their business at a 20% increase of $1.161 billion. And then for the 9 months ended, the revenues for Harley Davidson overall, $4.32 billion, or a 30% increase. And the motorcycle segment, $3.724 billion, or a 36% increase year over year. So, you know, those numbers and increases sound like huge increases, but if you consider that we had a pandemic year in 2020 and everything pretty much came to a standstill, it's you know, while it sounds impressive, I think most companies have had similar growth patterns. So let's dive a little deeper into that and really talk about the worldwide retail sales and the inventory numbers. And I think this is more interesting. So the retail sales is really the sales from the dealership to us, the consumers. So on the Q3 basis for 3 months, worldwide sales were down 6%. And on a year-to-date basis, up 9%. And I think that's really the increase on a year-to-date basis has really been driven by North America, and the retail sales in North America were up by 25%. And then all the other regions with which Harley Davidson has dealership network in, you know, Europe, Asia, Latin America, they were all down pretty significantly. So I think if we dive a little deeper into this and unpack this a little bit more, the interesting aspect is the number of motorcycle units on the floor at the dealerships, and just by comparison. So in Q3 of 2019, there were 57,000 motorcycles at dealerships ready to be sold out of inventory. In Q3 of 20, it went down to 38,000. Q2 of 21, we were down to 26,000, and ending Q3 of this year, the amount of bikes on dealership floors worldwide was only 25,000. So if you compare from Q3 of 19 to Q3 of 21, it's a 57,000 decrease, 57% decrease in the number of units in stock. And from Q3 20 to Q3 21, it's a 35% roughly decrease in inventory levels at the dealerships. So I think we've probably seen that decrease in the dealer inventory in the US. I've been fortunate over the summer. I traveled with my day job to a couple countries in Europe, and it's the same situation there. The number of bikes on the floors at the dealership I visited in Germany, very low, and in Belgium, same story. I mean, if they had 10 new bikes on the floor. That would probably be a stretch. It was pretty limited. And I will say here in the St. Louis area, the number of bikes on the floors, new bikes on the floors at the dealerships, there's 3 dealerships here in St. Louis, and it's pretty minimal. But getting back to the growth in Harley Davidson's revenue in the motorcycle segment, this is quite interesting too. So, as I mentioned previously, for the quarter, the revenues in the motorcycle segment for Harley Davidson grew by 20%. And again, the difference between dealership sales and Harley Davidson has a sale when they sell it to the dealership. So this is growth in sales from Harley Davidson to the dealership on motorcycles was 20%. So what makes up that 20%? So 9% of that was volume. So they actually sold more motorcycles to the dealerships by 9%. And again, this is motorcycle segment only. And then they also had the mix contributed 8% of that 20%. And mix, what I mean by that is, which motorcycles are they selling? Are they selling touring bikes? Are they selling adventure bikes? Are they selling the Softail line? So mix really means if they're getting revenue growth there, they're selling their higher priced bikes. Then on a year-to-date basis, in terms of volume, the overall increase was 36% in the motorcycle for 9 months. 24% of that coming from the number of bikes sold, just units purely, and then 9% of that coming from, again, the type of bikes that they're selling, so the mix. So diving a little bit deeper into the number of units shipped of motorcycles from Harley Davidson to the dealership. Again, a comparison here. So in Q1 of this year, they shipped 55,000 bikes. Q2, they shipped 57,000. Then Q3, a little bit down to 48,000. Now Q4, they're estimating they're only going to ship 22 to 29,000 bikes. So it seems as though, certainly in North America, demand is there and the supply is going down. Now some of that Q4 is seasonality. You know, a lot of people don't buy bikes in the winter. But it's also with the new model rollout, I think that's going to be coming early next year. They kind of changed that. It used to be in like September, October timeframe, and now it's, I think, January, February. So that's interesting too. So shipments are going down. Demand seems to be up, because I will tell you another aspect that they covered, which I thought was interesting, was the Pan America. So that bike was launched earlier this year, and according to Harley Davidson, they gained 13% market share in that adventure touring segment, which is incredible. And it was the #1 selling adventure touring bike in the United States since it was launched. So, you know, it's going up the likes of BMW, KTM, Honda, and a few others. So that's a pretty good launch. And then obviously we have the Sportster S that launched, so we'll see what happens with that. The other interesting aspect is, I mean, Harley Davidson is really trying to get riders involved in motorcycling, and they're doing that through the Ride Academy. So another interesting bit of information they shared was that completion of the Ride Academy year-to-date 2021 compared to year-to-date 2019 is up 20%. So if you think about it, they're have increased by 20% this year compared to pre-pandemic levels in 2019. So obviously, at least from that aspect, relative to those that they're getting involved in the Harley Davidson, at the Harley Davidson dealership level, it has increased pretty significantly. And, you know, I think that's going to be obviously a driver of those that will buy Harley Davidson motorcycles and get into motorcycling. So, you know, that's a few takeaways that I had from the Q3 earnings release. If you have any comments, please drop those in the comment section below. And with that, I want to leave you with a couple thoughts. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.